From the Emmy Award-winning show stacking up a whopping 8.2 rating score, to fans desperately wanting to see Katrina's badass independence era, here's why The Great needs a fourth season. Premiering on Hulu back in 2020, The Great has made a name for itself as one of the best historical black comedies. From its witty portrayal of the Russian Empress Catherine the Great, being played by none other than Elle Fanning, to the writer's absolute hatred for following historical accuracies, the dramedy sure does pack a punch. The show follows Catherine as she gets married to Emperor Peter III of Russia, played by X-Men's Nicholas Hoult, and takes on a satirical approach to the life events that followed. But here's the kicker. The show's writers fill the show with so many historical inaccuracies. Bending the elements of comedy and drama, it almost doesn't seem like they're following the Russian Empress's actual life. And I know what you're thinking. That isn't anything new, especially when we have dramatizations of history in Bridgerton as well. But The Great sets itself apart from all these period pieces by being intentionally wrong. So if the show refuses to follow the actual storyline and the creative directions liberate it from the shackles of boring history, you might think about what makes The Great, well, so great. It's actually genius. By throwing away accuracies to one side, the writers are able to make sure that the show has enough blank space to have the story resonate with us common folk in the 21st century. While only hinting at the story's period tales, The Great also makes sure that people in the present can see themselves in the drama. That's right, it's all about the relatability factor. And you know what? It works. The show is so well received by critics and fans alike that for all 3 seasons, it's racked up an impressive 8.2 IMDb rating score. Not only that, but even Rotten Tomatoes, which doesn't usually give out high scores for fun, gave Season 1 a grand 89% score. And that's not even the cherry on top. The review website then gave Season 2 a massive 100% score, followed by another 100% score on Season 3. I just got goosebumps. Is that even possible? Well, it is. Because putting these blistering ratings aside, not only is the period drama a 7-time Emmy-nominated show, but it's also a 1-time Emmy Award winner. They even set the stage by bagging multiple nominations at the Golden Globe Awards. So with this many achievements already in the bags, it would kind of be stupid for the show not to push out more seasons, right? Well, I don't think viewers need to worry. With the way Season 3 wrapped up, there are just too many loose ends for there not to be another season. Even though the show might not be the same ever again. Elle Fanning was adamant that she would put on Catherine's dress again. Major spoiler alert, I'm talking about how Nicholas Hoult's character, Peter, died in episode 6 of Season 3. Considering how a massive chunk of the show was about Catherine and Peter's unstable and extremely tumultuous relationship, there are a lot of questions up in the air about what new direction the show will take. Even though Fanning says that she feels a lot of pressure about her role, now that Peter's absence has left behind a hole, in both the show and the characters, she emphasizes that maybe the absence is needed to drive Season 4 after all. There are just so many ways Catherine's character can navigate this new change, and so many different directions the show can take. From exploring grief as she struggles to live with her partner's death, to exploring how she becomes someone who stands on her own 2 feet. Anything is possible in the new season. I'm rooting for Catherine's girl boss era. And with how Season 3 ended with her dancing and cutting her hair, it seems the stage is already set for that era to come to life. And no one can have a problem with this change either, because it isn't anything new. Fanning herself notes that Catherine's character evolves every season. She's always changing, but this time, she's really prepared to step into herself on her own. The whole series, she has always had Peter, and now she has to actually let him go to be able to be the leader that she needs to be. So it would be exciting to get to do that. I'm so excited to see where this can go. I mean, an independent girl boss Russian Empress? Sign me up! And there are just so many more possibilities to explore. With The Great being notorious for never following the historical plan, the possibilities for different plotlines are endless. Like, even in real life, Catherine's husband passes away shortly after getting married. So the way the Empress came to rule the empire, as well as the power that she gained, would be an exciting plot to see. With Peter falling through the frozen lake with his horse and drowning, I'm sure there's enough drama to write about the dramatic death alone. What's even funnier is the creator, Tony McNamara, even said that Peter's death was dramatized for the show's progression, and was way off from how the actual Peter died. The actual Peter had a less glamorized way of passing, because it was speculated that he died of hemorrhoids. Yikes. At least fictional Peter's death was way more epic. Catherine's claim to power, and how she establishes herself as the most successful ruler in Russian history, is nothing short of an epic tale. Season 4 can promise so many of the hurdles that she overcomes, and those have already been shown by the end of Season 3. From how she sees her own son as an enemy who puts her life in danger, to how Archie is still a threat to her life after being saved by Mariel, especially after the Russian Empress ordered for him to be buried alive. The new season can even follow the same base pattern as the previous ones, exploring how Catherine navigates her complicated relationship with fellow nobles, as well as how she establishes her rocky legacy. Even the cast is anticipating what Season 4 will bring. Fanning addresses Catherine as being savvy and clever, and believes that she has much more to bring to the table, including stepping up and doing things she would never have done before. Fanning even promised that Tony and she had discussions about the new season. And while she can't confidently say what's next for the show, she knows that the creator has a plan. And the new season was literally promised from the start, because all the way back in 2020, the period drama's executive producer, Marian McGowan, revealed that they had pitched the show for a whole 6 seasons, because they had enough material to carry the show on until Catherine was an old woman. I mean, I'm not surprised, because the real-life Catherine did rule for more than a whopping 30 years after her husband's death. Even show fans are completely on board wherever the new season takes them. They really want to see how Catherine navigates her relationships with the other characters. From wanting to know how the Empress sees Mariel for the traitor she truly is, despite her consistently being in Catherine's good books, to desperately wanting the main star to see how purely selfish George is. Some fans have even pitched bizarre ideas that they want to see play out, with avid Peter stans wishing him to return from the dead, after being found frozen alive in the ice lake. I've got to give it to them. That's pretty creative. And with how the show is so adamant about never being accurate, it may even be an actual plot, even if it isn't realistic. But everyone's desire for a specific direction of the show is unanimous. That's right, I'm talking about how all the fans want to see Catherine's independent arc. Everyone is curious to see how the main lead will reign without Peter, especially now that she no longer has her husband undermining her capabilities. They want to see Catherine's character evolve into a badass girl boss, who becomes strong-willed as a ruler. And even though fans of the show are extremely saddened by Peter's death, given how amazingly Nicholas Hoult pulled off his character, they believe that the show needs to explore how Catherine can be powerful on her own. And let's be honest, Peter's character would never have allowed Catherine to rule the Empire in peace. And it was kind of weird how he kept distracting her with proclamations of love, considering he had sex with her mother and even caused her death. So yeah, no offense to Hoult, but it was time for Peter to go, and for Catherine to take the throne. But with no confirmation from the show's producers or the cast, these fan expectations only seem to grow more and more. One thing's for sure though, the show simply has to go on. And if the pattern of the release of the previous seasons is anything to go by, we may even get Season 4 as early as 2024, or as late as 2025. Until then, everyone is waiting with bated breath. So, from the fans desperately wanting to see Catherine's badass independence era, to the Emmy Award-winning show stacking up a whopping 8.2 rating score, these were the reasons why The Great needs a 4th season.